Welcome to another episode of ElevatePod, where we explore stories that inspire growth, courage, and transformation. Today, we're walking together along the path of purpose. Each of us at some point feels the quiet nudge of something deeper, a longing that whispers, there's more to life than this. Purpose isn't always loud or obvious. Sometimes it's found in stillness, in quiet moments when life feels uncertain and yet something inside us refuses to give up. Today, we're honored to have Cara Gledhill, a special feature. She will share her journey, experiences, and thoughts on the path of purpose. Today's conversation invites us to reflect on the road we're each walking, the one filled with detours, lessons, and sometimes divine redirections. Let's dive in and hear more from Cara Gledhill.
You are a wonderful, devoted mother of three children.
I've raised three children here.
Okay.
I've raised three great grandchildren here.
Perfect.
I raised two Chinese girls
Wonderful.
that could not speak English,
Okay.
and that was in the early 60s.
All right.
And their mother and I got to be as close as any sisters could be.
Wonderful.
Wonderful Chinese people.
Perfect. Perfect.
Just wonderful.
All right. And we head that to your life. I think you were you dedicated your life in working in high retail end stores, and you worked for a while. Can you maybe introduce that in your bio as well?
The stores?
Yeah, everything, like the work that you did in the state
Well,
of California.
before that,
Mhm.
I raised a 4-year-old great grandson,
Oh,
Here.
wonderful. Wonderful.
great grandson.
Okay.
And then I'm now a great grandmother,
Whoa. Wonderful.
a great grandmother.
All right.
And in the beginning of my marriage,
Mhm.
my husband did not want me to work.
Okay.
That's why I could watch all these kids here. And then when they all got in school,
Mhm.
I got into different classes
Mhm.
at Delta College.
Oh, perfect.
Psychology,
Mhm.
accounting,
Mhm.
English,
Mhm.
disco dancing.
Oh, so you did disco dancing? Yes. Oh, perfect. I think maybe we should was around here.
And creative writing,
Okay. Okay.
modeling.
Okay.
And so through modeling,
Mhm.
I won at Weberstown Mall and one in Modesto.
Oh. And you were driving to Modesto from here?
Yes,
Perfect.
it was a very glamorous, exciting job.
Oh. That's very good. That's very good. Uh-huh.
And at the Modesto shop,
Mhm.
I took my little silver poodle
Okay.
and put her in the window.
Oh, little dog?
A poodle, yeah.
Wow.
I've always had dogs
Okay. And then watching and being with you.
at all times.
Perfect.
Um, and then I my husband took ill, so I took other jobs, and I was approached by the government to take a test, and there was like 300 of us, and I came in third.
Whoa. Whoa. From being a parent, somebody was raising kids, to being fed.
And to see your brains.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
So the good Lord gave me good brains,
Perfect.
good brains.
Okay.
But my life hasn't always been easy. when I was pregnant, my mother was ashamed of me. So I moved to Florida. I had a sister in Florida. And I worked for a laundry with maybe 200 Black women. They did the washing all by hand. And they all reassured me not to worry. They could deliver my baby.
Wonderful, wonderful.
And so they were very, very helpful. My boss even moved my desk downstairs. And I worked right up to 10 days before the baby was born. And during my stay in Florida, I met prostitutes. You know what a prostitute is?
Yes.
And but in Florida, they were working to send their children through college. And so my very last night there, the Salvation Army bought me a train ticket for Atlanta, Georgia. And the prostitutes said I could stay at their homes, well, housing until the next day.
And you're with your child?
Yes. And all night the police were coming and going. Not being raided, they were being serviced. But again, good people. You know, you don't judge them at all. And then coming back to after Atlanta, Georgia, coming back to California with a baby in New Orleans, there was a stopover a couple of hours. And I needed to get out to buy milk. And a Black garbage man approached me and said, "Lady, you don't know where you're at. You're in the wrong part of town." So he got me my milk and took me back to the train so I would be safe. So it seems like all of my life people help me the most. So my son, and then back in California is when I met my husband. And you ladies are very young. He worked for the government overseas, Anawita, the Marshall Islands, where the H bomb was tested under the ocean. That's the atom bomb. And that's when he contacted his cancer. So like I said, my life hasn't always been easy because my son grew up, he's mentally ill. And I get really emotional talking about him. He's always been on SSDI. And my husband always was very helpful. And I've always been his PA. And now that I'm old, my grandson just took it over the 1st of October. He's 80. And it's very difficult I don't even like to talk about it. It's really difficult with a mentally ill child. And it's very costly. And so, but anyway, things work out. I went to work for the state of California, and I worked 40 hours for the state and 32 hours a week at Montgomery Ward's selling appliances to keep one step ahead of my doctor bills. Now that's 72 hours a week working. And my husband would always say, Carol, when are you coming home? And I always said, when I get sick or fall asleep. But at work, we had a shop steward, and he saw me crying at work. And I told him while I was crying, I was worn out, that it was too much working 72 hours a week. But I managed to keep ahead of my doctor bills because the state only paid 80% and I had to pay 20%. So there's a wonderful senator that heard about me here in Stockton. He had all of my medical bills paid in full.
Whoa.
All of them.
Listen.
All of them. All of them. He knew I couldn't continue at the rate I was going. But that was a blessing.
It is always a blessing.
You know. So it's like the good Lord has watched over me all my life. But and then I worked 16 years for the state as an auditor. And with the state, you can jump around. I worked for the disability, relieving them on vacation. And I greeted people as they came in. And behind me was a big glass plate window here in Stockton. And all the employees in front of me were all disappearing. They were all leaving. So finally, they said, Carol, there's a man behind you with a shotgun. Right behind me with a plate glass window. So as soon as, that's why they were all leaving.
Oh,
And so as soon as I found out that he was behind me with a gun, I slid down in my chair on the floor. So life is topsy-turvy.
it is always.
And then working for the unemployment office, I interviewed at the window. And again, I excused myself, ladylike and quietly excused him of it. I walked back to my boss about 40 feet, and I said, Phil, you don't pay me enough money. He's got a gun. He's got a gun. So I stayed in his office and he went out front. Yeah. You know, so it was really, and then when I knew I had to either go to San Francisco or Sacramento where the pay was better. And so I was kind of in the fraud department. And my first fraud case was my ex-boss. My first fraud case. But it was interesting.
So how did you deal with that? I think that's very exciting because
well, you're very honest with them. And you tell them who you are, and that you will have to prove to me But all these expenses were turning in. And here she was handwriting out all of her expenses.
Oh,
And so it was easy to dismiss her. But
hope she was a good boss. You felt sorry for.
no, I didn't. I didn't. But and then I ended up in the pharmaceutical department. And a lot of them, they were doctors. They, not an MD doctor, but in the pharmaceutical. And to this day, I remain friends with one of them here in Stockton. And he's Japanese. His wife is Chinese. And so he came to work one day with an invitation. So-and-so is getting married in Atlanta, Georgia to so-and-so. Well, it just happened. Her nephew is marrying my cousin, Caucasian, in Atlanta, Georgia. So from there on, we tell each other we're related. Yes, we're related. So, and I worked right up to 1996. My mother had a stroke. And that's why my husband and I built the great big room to solve the back, thinking my mother could come and live with us. And but I couldn't do it. She required 24/7 care. And she required a hoist to lift her. And the hoist was $7,000. A hoist to lift her up, to go to the bathroom. And so she belonged in assisted living. But, and so when she passed away, I was left with 7 homes to sell. 7 homes.
Did you know about these 7 homes, or that was news to you?
Well, I had 4 or 5 at the time myself. That was a hobby. Real estate. And real estate's been very, very good to me. And so I think I inherited my mother's traits. So, and I lived at her home in Yuba City 3 nights, and I would come back to Stockton and live 4 nights here until I could sell everything.
I'm sorry.
But my mother was married 4 times. My daughter's on her 4th husband.
Your daughter? So you say you inherited your mother's brains,
But
your daughter?
my daughter's on her 4th husband.
All right.
And she says, well, grandma was married 4 times.
So I'm following grandma.
But all of my mother's husbands were very well off. Oh, very well off. So, but, and then I have many, many hobbies. I love to work in the yard with a shovel.
That's really good.
I planted every single tree in the yard. Every single tree, every single plant.
It's therapeutic.
Oh, yes, very, very much. And all of my friends know I love flowers. So they're always bringing me flowers.
So among the hobbies that you have, you feel so being the same. Which one actually is the best hobby that you will?
I collect rare money.
Rare money.
Rare money. uh, uh, my mother's brother collected rare money. And when he died, he had $2.8 million in gold coins. In gold coins. And so I think your life, you inherit a little bit all of this. And so I read a lot about rare money and gold coins. And before you leave, I'll show you my collection. Some of it, most of it, over 100 years old.
Wow. So you inherited some of those collections?
Well, I only inherited a couple of them, maybe 4 of them.
But the rest you.
I went to a lot of coin shows in Stockton, Texas, and Florida, and Washington, D.C.
Wow, so you traveled, so it became a very good hobby.
Oh, yes. And I've traveled 60 different countries.
Which countries are those? Can you tell?
Oh, God.
And which country really left a lasting impact in you?
Well, my husband was a history buff, loved history, loved to read. And so his favorite was Japan.
Mhm.
My favorite was Brazil. I fell in love with Argentina. And no matter where we went, we had to learn history. And then at nighttime, nightclubbing, dancing, and dinners.
I think you better show us a movie. You talk about dancing. I think we need to record your movie later.
Well, we traveled all of Europe. We traveled all of Greece and Turkey, Spain, Portugal, and Africa.
Which part of Africa did you
Well,
travel to?
not where you ladies have been.
Southern part?
We only went to Tangier and Morocco.
Okay.
And we both fell in love with Central America, Costa Rica. And that's where I got this.
All right.
So in all your travels, is there a particular place or encounter that impacted how you view your life?
Well, when you've traveled as much as I've traveled, you have to be broad-minded and accept their religion and accept the way they live. And in Peru, there's an actual holiday that they honor. No sex at all for anyone.
I'm serious.
And then I'm very broad-minded. Nothing shocks me. So I've gone through their museums, and the tour guide said, "Are you sure you want to see this one?" I said, "I want to see everything." 1,000 different positions for sex in statues. Thousands of statues all over.
And you saw them all.
Yeah, you're darn right I did. And then in France, in Paris, we went on 11 tours. And again, I'm curious. I want to see everything. And our hotel was a 5-star hotel. And I asked the concierge, the manager, I whipped out my book. I said, "We've been on 11 tours. is it safe to see this tour? He said, I think everyone should see it one time. It was a live sex show on a lazy Susan that was going around.
And did you close your eyes?
No, oh, we watched it all.
Oh wow.
And so it was that had to be the most interesting country, France.
All right.
But and we both fell in love with Greece. And every country you go to, even in France, the Versailles, the Fontainebleau, the women all had secret doors to bring in their lovers. And even in Italy, the Blue Grotto, it's way down at the tip of Italy. And you go in a cave and they'll show you where they brought in their lovers, their mistresses. So it's, you just let it go one way and one ear and out the other.
Is that all part of the tourism? Or just the culture? Or?
No, it's been going on for years. But you just go with an open mind and enjoy it. You don't let anything shock you at all. And I did travel all of these countries. I've been back 2 and 3 times. And my husband wanted to build a home in Costa Rica. So we went back there 3 different years, and squatters took over. And so we couldn't do that. But really nice, interesting. And I flew to I love Brazil. I flew back to Brazil after my husband died. And I always travel first class. And so first class, I met a man from Venezuela.
Crazy. Where's that man?
Where were you traveling to?
Cusco in Peru.
Oh, yeah.
But I got poisoned in Peru.
Oh,
We were going to see, that Mount Muchi Puchi or something, but I did get poisoned, and I had to spend 4 days in hospital. And they took me by ambulance. They hit a car on the way, and the doctor says, no worry,
you still alive?
No, but he hit a car.
Oh.
He didn't stop. He just kept going. And then again, the exchange of money in Peru, they will not accept a wrinkle bill, or if it's torn, they want nothing to do with it. So the doctor says, not to worry, I got a car. And he drove me the 4th day to a Bank of America where they could pay the hospital bill. But
yeah, I want to ask you some other things that I've learned from Smyra about your kindness for supporters in terms of giving and just embracing all other cultures. So maybe you can give us some perspective on what you've done.
I give money to everyone.
So what have you done through that giving to yourself? What have you learned from the people you have to give and for you yourself?
I'm thankful I can afford it. I get joy out of making other people happy. I give joy out of helping them financially when they can't pay their PG&E bill. It's something that comes natural. And you learn a lot by listening. And so I go to the senior citizen, and the minute I walk in, 3 ladies call me their angel. So why, I have no idea.
Because you've made a difference in their lives.
Maybe I never thought of it that way.
Because you may have solved something that nobody could have. And you made a difference that actually today you may be alive.
That's I've had a good life, and I feel I've been blessed in many, many ways. And then I love music.
I heard some. Okay.
And then after all this traveling around the world 3 times, when you come home, we always went into Mexico to relax. So I've been into Mexico 30 different times.
Wow.
And you don't have to worry about your hair or makeup. You put a flower behind your ear. Like at Pinnacle, you got to use your brains and be good at math, and a lot of laughter. And it does me good to use my brains and to laugh. And then I take one man home because medical reasons. I never ask, but if he can't drive, and he and his wife are always giving me a gift card. And the last one last week said I was such a blessing, you know. And I've got wonderful neighbors that are constantly bringing me food. And then I played bingo Friday. And so last year I met this lady at bingo. And she's in her 70s. And so when I die, she'll be Scotty's mama.
Oh, okay, wonderful. No, we are running out of time. I wish we had the whole day to hear all the stories that you have.
There's some dillies.
Yes, yes.
We danced till 4 a.m. in the morning in Mexico.
That was yeah.
Do you still dance?
No, my legs are worn out.
Can you do this?
I can do it all.
You know what? We just dived in and you didn't get a chance to read her bio in case, you know, the listeners, is there anything else she hasn't touched here?
If I look at the bio, I think you talked about your years in California, you talked about your husband, your hobbies, you talked about your gardening, the music, Scotty. I think you haven't talked about Scott, your little
He's my service
your
dog.
service dog, yes.
He opens all of my doors when I fall.
Wow.
All of them. I replaced that kitchen door 3 times. He's a great companion.
Yeah. So
and I met Samira at a concert.
yes, you did.
And a man from church drove me at night because I should not drive at night. But I still drive.
Okay.
And DMV renewed my license for 5 more years.
Oh, perfect. So we have the audience that may listen to your story. So what would your parting words be to them, your audience? about your life that you've lived.
Be kind to everyone.
Mhm.
Be kind. And I thoroughly believe what goes around comes around.
Sure.
I've always believed that. And Samira's turned out to be a wonderful friend.
I love your parting words. It's what goes around comes around.
I've always believed that. Always.
Oh, thank you. You said you have wonderful neighbors. People bring you flowers. And this is not because they're just doing it because they've seen the heart of service that you have yourself.
Well, I repay them. I buy all of them. Dinner gift certificates.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. The neighbors they are the lifeline that we have.
Well, they used to be. Most of them have died. Or they've moved on
Mm-hmm.
to smaller homes.
Mm-hmm.
But I still have a couple that watch over me like a hawk.
Perfect.
Nice.
That's what you need.
Yeah.
So, Carol, do you have any last question that you would like Carol to answer? She's looking at you and saying, "Oh, I think the question that I have, you can't answer it." Try it.
Now, you mentioned that you had great experiences with people that helped you in your time of need. So I'm thinking that also contributed to how you're always giving, how you're always helping. Have you stayed in touch with some of these people that helped you out the time you had the baby?
They're all gone.
Mhm.
They're all gone. I've outlived all of them. And people ask me, what did I do to live this long? And they even say that you're beautiful and all this and that. I've never smoked in my life. I've never ever done any drugs at all. No drugs, no smoking. But I do drink.
You drink the wine?
And bourbon and rum and brandy. But very little now at my age. Very little.
You said you were born in
1934. And that was during the Depression years when everyone was poor. We were rich, not in money. We had every tree you can imagine. Peach tree, apricot tree, orange tree, lemon tree, fig trees, walnut trees, almond trees, olive trees. We lived in the country. So we were rich in food.
But
Not money, but in food. And we had to buy our own school clothes. And there's no boys in our family. So we did all the work. But I believe that's made me what I am today. I'm not afraid of work. Like working 72 hours a week.
I know, that is, and I think one thing I liked is when you went to your supervisor, say, "Hey, you don't pay me enough to be killed by that person behind me."
He's got a gun. He's got a gun.
Yeah.
But I did it quietly. I didn't upset him. I just said, "Excuse me one moment."
Yeah. I think your life journey has had a purpose. I think it has a purpose that allows you to sit back, relax, and say, and this it was worth living. And thank you so much for affording us the time to almost talk with you. and just you know, journey that we have. It's hard focus.
Now, before you leave, I gotta show you my money collection.
Okay, yeah, I'll see that. Okay, thank you so much.
Thank
You're
you so
welcome.
much
You're welcome.
for your time, for making us laugh, for sharing your journey.
Yeah,
And I'm sure our listeners will love listening to this. We've learned purpose is not about being perfect, but it's about embracing the journey. It's about being present in the moment. It's shared a lot about your troubles and your view of the world, and so that's what purpose is all about. And kindness, giving.
Oh, and there's a lot of
Gratitude.
stories that you'd love to hear.
I can imagine. Purpose isn't about being perfect, it's about being present. Every experience you've had, every challenge you've faced has prepared you to serve in ways only you can. As John Maxwell says, your story is the key that can unlock someone else's prison. So go forth, live with heart, and be the light someone else is searching for. We look forward to seeing you in the next episode. Thank you for joining us on this journey to elevate and inspire. Until next time, lead with purpose and grow with passion.